All right, so Wi-Fi enabled, variety of mobile devices, storage units that are display centers as well. What else do you all have?
We have just a couple left. One is just have ample space. I'm a responsive classroom teacher, so I have my kids circle up a lot, and then they need to go and work in groups, so we need to be able to move stuff around and have lots of space for everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last two really are just a couple stations, like an administration center and like a presentation teaching station with a projector or whatever. And that's it.
Okay, and then an administrative. So what would typically be the teacher space?
Right.
You're calling administrative, which is really interesting because that's an interesting shift. Because if a teacher wasn't anchored to a desk and they were on a laptop rather than a desktop, then all of a sudden every space is useful for them. And if it's an administrative space, that could be everything from where the kids sign in the morning to where, a third grader who's in charge of, handing out snacks, like a little checklist could be there. So administrative center is interesting because it suggests that everyone in the room could have a role there, but it could also default as the core teacher space when he or she had to just sit down and concentrate in a more practical way. So it's a nice language shift. Okay, great. Versus a teacher desk. Okay, and was that the last one?
Or was one more?
One more. We want a water station with a water cooler and a sink and a wet station.
A wet station. Gotcha. Yeah, I think for younger, obviously arts and manipulables and science and working with sand and plants, not to mention good just to wash hands when they get dirty themselves, right? Not always have to go to the bathroom. Do you feel that a bathroom is necessary in the space, or are they old enough? I'm assuming that they could walk down the hall to the shared facilities.
Well, it would be nice to have one from the classroom that would cut out that lovely hall wandering Tom.
Yeah.
Maybe they need that.
Yeah, they do. Okay, very, very good. I may, at the end of the day, show you a couple of spaces from some primarily European schools that do some interesting things. Not that we can pull them off, but we might be, informed by them and daydream a little bit. But I think you'll find it interesting. There's one in terms of a bathroom that's one of the most lovely solutions I've ever seen in my life, but it takes a brave new way of seeing how bathrooms are used. That's all I can say, so I'll leave it at. Okay, so that's great. That's a lot of wonderful ideas. Okay, and obviously we can add to that later if you hear that sounds cool, we want to add it. But beneath that, I love this idea of natural light, but making sure that you have an ability to block that light as needed. Sadly, most teachers default to the covered windows because of heat manipulation and light. And then they default to the fluorescent lights. And I've never understood that. I've always adjusted the blinds, of course, of the day, and always brought in extra lights, not used fluorescent lights. I brought in my own from flea markets, from Walmarts, and anything that was cheap to create an experience. But it's, daylight is, everybody wants it. Most teachers don't use it, which I always find strange, because at home they will. But in a classroom they don't. They think it's about distraction and temperature shifts and all that stuff. But I love that that's an early focus. So good. All right.